Hello, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the second puzzle now from the grand final, see how this compares with the one we've just tried. So without further ado, I'm going to put in the obvious ones. Okay, and somewhat surprisingly, we've immediately come across a similar thing to the same technique we've used in the last puzzle about 3 times. So I was just placing the 2's. You can see in row 4 the 2's are forced to be in one of these 2 cells. If we look across to this 2 here, although we can't fix just 2 cells to be a choice of 2's in box 7 here, we can see that the 2 has to be either here, here, or here. And we know that the 2's in the box above are here or here, so we know that the 2's here are either here or here, which actually gives us a 1-2 combination in this box, and it looks like that's immediately going to be incredibly helpful, because we can immediately now, because there can't be a 9 in this square, this is forced to be a 4 and this is forced to be a 9. So right at the start we've hit upon what looks like it's a critical piece of logic that will cause this puzzle to really to really break quickly. Let's see if that happens. And you see it's such a powerful thing early in a puzzle to get this sort of this sort of thing fixed, because now if we look down we've got a 9-8 in column 1 and a 9-8 in column 3, so we know there's a 9-8 in column 2 in box A, and if we just scan along the line we can see in row 3 we already have a 9 and an 8. So the 8-9 is forced here, and we even have a 9 as well. So now we've actually fixed all but 2 of the numbers in box A, within less than a minute, which is really a really nice way to start the puzzle. So we can fix the 5 and the 6 here. You can see I'm just going through at the moment, just filling in using the Tom Snyder notation. So only in a box of 3x3, when there are 2 possibilities for the placement of one number, am I allowed to use notation to note those 2 possibilities down. We're just going through the puzzle at the moment, filling in. You can see there, we're looking at the 9's. We fix the 9's here. That also looks helpful. You should get used to, as you're going through these puzzles, trying to be able to identify quickly in your mind what's missing. So 1, 3, 5, 8, you should be thinking immediately are missing from the central column here. We've already got an 8 here, so in fact the 8's forced to be in this position. Now you're looking for a 1, 3, 5. Just get used to scanning the gaps and trying to eliminate numbers. Okay, the next thing you can notice very quickly is we've already locked a 2 and a 3 into column 6 here in this box, box H. We've got an 8 in this position, so we know there's an 8 in one of these 3 cells. Now, although Tom Snyder's notation doesn't allow us to note that down, it should be clear that we've got 3 cells here with only 3 possibilities, and therefore these 3 cells are 2, 3, and 8 in some combination. In fact, we can note it down and see the 8 there, which means that this has to be a 5. So let's put that in. Which means these 2 are 5. Oh, and there you go. That's nice. So now we fix this to be 3. And the other technique that I'd recommend is very obvious, but you need to look at the lines and the columns where you've got the most numbers, and you can see row 9 here where we've got missing, what is it, 1, 2, 4, 8 missing, and a quick scan shows this cell here, the only thing it can be is a 4, so we definitely want to put that in. Just to keep it tidy. Oh, and then fairly obviously we've got the 2 in row 6 here. That forces the 2 in the central box to be in the middle position. It's got to be a 2, and therefore, and this is where Tom Snyder's notation is nice, that immediately allows us to fill in the 9 without any actual thought as well, which is obviously helpful, and that's what the notation is really there to help with. So we needed to put heat in here. So again, we've got the same sort of configuration, 3 numbers, 3 cells in this square. So this is forced to be a 6. The only thing this can be is a 4-7. This can only be a 4-7. So again, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's going to be a 5, which means actually this is a 3. Which means the 3 is here and here. It's going to be a 3. Now, I really want to write the 1-5 combination in here, but I'm not allowed to according to this method of notation. David McNeil could write the 1-5 in this cell using his notation, but we just have to try and make a mental note that can only be a couple of things. And that's quite nice. If we look at column 8 there, so 3, 5, 7, we know we're looking to place in some order along this column. Well, we know this can't be a 5 because we already have a 5 here, and we know this can't be a 5 because we already have a 5 here. So in fact, I think this has to be a 5. I'm not sure if that's actually going to help us much, but no, it is going to help us, because now we can place a 5 in one of these 2 positions, and that means that this has to be a 5 and this has to be a 6, which means this has to be 6, 4, 2, 7, and in fact that looks like it's the step that's opened the puzzle up. Yeah, so I mean, what I'd say about this one is it's slightly more complicated, was my feeling, than the first one. Still absolutely approachable using this notation, yeah, quite accessible in the end. So we won't dwell on it further, because it's now just going to be an exercise in filling in the grid as quickly as you can, and we'll move on to the next.